the Canik TP9 Elite Combat. Let's check it out. Canik is one of those companies that's just very responsive to the market. They have released so many different models over the past few years, and not only just upgraded models. They have different features with different firearms to suit whatever preference you have. One of the things about Canik is it's a very high quality firearm for the price. In fact, you can really match these with about any premium grade firearm and it will match it. The quality control that goes through these handguns, and these are NATO approved firearms for military. And so they've gone through a lot of rigorous testing. 50,000 rounds is what they're claiming that these will withstand. They have a lifetime limited warranty. Now we're going to take a look at the Canik TP9 Elite Combat. And there's a lot of features that this has that supersedes all the previous Caniks, and a lot of that has to do with their partnership with Salient Arms. Salient Arms is known for its Glock upgrades. In fact, some of the just very expensive Glock handguns, some of the most expensive upgrades on the market. And they have joined with Century Arms and Canik to produce the Canik TP9 Elite Combat. This is the ultimate Canik at this point, but knowing Canik, they've got more things to come. It does have a really nice Cerakote finish, but it's over black nitride, so it's going to be very durable. Then, of course, the frame is a polymer frame. It's a striker fire pistol. It's really based closely to the Walther P99 originally, and they've kind of just upgraded over time to make its own pistol, to be honest. Before we get started, we're going to drop our magazine, and has a 15-round magazine with a 3-round extended base plate. So you've got 18 rounds in the first magazine. Let's go ahead and check to make sure the gun is unloaded, and it is. And then you have an extra 15-round magazine, which is typical for the Elite series. It's a little bit of a shorter grip, so it gives you a little bit more compact feel, and yet it's still full size. And so inside here, and of course you can see the mag well, this is a Salient Arms mag well. It's aluminum, and it really helps for those magazines to go sailing in really easy. And the bevel is very well done. It does have your back strap, which is of course from Canik. The barrel is also a Salient Arms barrel. It is fluted, it is a match grade barrel, and it is threaded. The thread pitch is 13.5 by 1 left-hand threads, and we'll be looking at that in a minute. It's very nicely knurled, and you need a wrench to take it off because it really tightens up very well. And of course, there are a ton of adapters for the 13.5 by 1 left-hand pitch thread. The big problem is remembering which way to turn it when you're taking it on and off. This is also known as Canik because people will say something in the comments, but we don't pronounce Turkey here in the US either. The sights are also from Salient, and you have a black outline with serrations on the back, and then here at the front we have a fiber optic front sight. And this does have a shelf, so you can reload off your belt or of course a table or wherever. This is also an optics ready model, and you have a plate here, and there are 4 different adapters, but you can switch this off to fit any of your micro red dots or your RMRs. Now, one thing you'll notice are these extended slide releases, and they are nice. And I said slide release because honestly this is a slide release and a slide stop, but that's really for competitive shooters, and it is ambidextrous. Now, one thing you're going to see too is the trigger. Flat face trigger. This is from Canik as well, and it has the blade,
the safety, so it's not gonna, it makes it a safer pistol to fire. This is an aluminum trigger, so it's gonna be really nice. We're gonna take a quick look at that in a minute, but this is an excellent trigger. 1913 Picatinny rail. You have serrations here on the back and on the front abbreviated. They're not really, they're a little bit difficult maybe to grab hold of, but if you just want to do the press checks, you can. But typically, I use just the rear cocking serrations anyway. But the slide also just comes down to a narrow point right here, which makes it really nice for fitting into holsters. The texture on the grip is really well done, and then you have these pyramids on the front and on the back straps. I believe this one is the smaller one, and again, you can change that out. It does have a nice feel to it. Now, one thing that a lot of people have complained about in the past is that because this is so wide, it can wear on your hands, but Canik has done some improvements to this to make it a little more comfortable when shooting. Now, while we've got it back this way, you'll notice this little red dot. This is your cocked striker indicator. Doesn't mean the gun's loaded or unloaded, just means that it's ready to fire. And when you pull the trigger, it disappears. But we also have a loaded chamber indicator right here. So we're going to take a dummy round, and you'll notice that there is a small rise right here. It's not too obtrusive, and but yet it's tactile. You can feel that there is a round in the chamber. The barrel is 4.8 inches in length. The overall length is about 8 inches, and then it's 6 inches in height, and then it's 1.45 inches in width. And the weight of the TP9 Combat Elite, 1 pound, 13 ounces. It does feature these little memory pads on either side. One is textured, the other is just has lettering, but it's still, you have that feel to it, so it gives you a nice grip. And then there's a little bit of checkering here on the front of the trigger guard, and so it's got a really good solid feel to it with these areas right here that kind of come in, and it just makes your hand mold right to the grip. Now we're going to check the trigger action. With the flat face trigger, it's going to be really nice. You have your trigger shoe right here, which is a safety. It will not fire unless you have a full grip on the trigger. Here, a little bit of take up and a super crisp snap or break. Guys, I'll tell you, it's just a really excellent trigger. And then reset right there, super quick, and then back at it. This is just an excellent trigger, and Canik is known for their really good triggers. We're going to check trigger pull weight with our Lyman trigger gauge from Brownells. 3 pounds 14 ounces, 3 pounds 8.1 ounces, 3 pounds 14 ounces. Canik says it's a 4.8 pound trigger pull, but again, we're getting about that 3.5, a little over trigger pull. A lot of times pistols that are optics ready, that have threaded barrels, and they seem to be really large. That's one of the things about the Elite Combat. It feels more like a standard pistol, and I really like that. I mean, it still has a really good balance to it, but it's not just overly big. That's one of the things about the SFX. It's got the longer slide, it's got just a bigger pistol and even a longer frame. But with this one, you've got a good size on it, but it's not too big. And to me, that makes it a little more handy, especially in competitive shooting. But that's just my opinion. I want to thank Fiocchi for sponsoring the ammo. We're shooting 115 grain full metal jacket. Fiocchi's all made in the USA. Also, I want to thank Lula Loaders. They do send me, Maglula sends me loaders sometimes. And guys, once you start using these, it's hard to go back.
Now, taking it down to the range, we went first without the RMR sight or without the reflex sight. We wanted to kind of test it out, and a lot of guys are just going to shoot it as is. It does have the threaded barrel, so you're going to be able to put a suppressor on there, or at least a compensator if you like that. And then, of course, with the mag well just being easy to drop those mags in, and then a lot of the other features. This gun stands alone without an RMR. But once you put the RMR on here, it definitely transforms things. Now, there's a lot of people that are really getting into guns with optics on them, the handguns. And so this is definitely a smart move for Canik. Of course, they've already produced one RMR version, but to make it with the threaded barrel and this size. It's a fairly compact size, even though with all the accessories, it makes it more of a combat type pistol. Either way, you know, it's just giving you a lot of options. And again, the price is just really one of the big deciding factors for a lot of people.
Now for disassembly, drop your magazine, check to make sure that the gun is unloaded. First thing we need to do is to remove our thread protector, and you're going to need your wrench. Remember that this is left-hand thread, so as you would tighten, you loosen. Once you get it to a certain point, you go ahead and unscrew it. You do have these flats on each side, so it makes it really easy, and then you have the knurling to finish it up. And there is a target crown in the barrel, which really helps, and of course the thread protector is going to help as well. Now disassembly is a little different. We are going to pull the trigger. We're going to pull back on our slide just a little bit and pull down our takedown tabs, and then let it go forward just a little bit. And then we just lift it off of the slide. We don't bring it all the way out. And you can see right here these little corresponding grooves. They go right here into the slide rails, and then it just locks down. Here we have the guide rod with the recoil spring. It is captive and it is steel. Pull out our barrel. Now this is again a Salient Arms barrel, and they say fluting, but it has these relief cuts on each side. And of course it has the Salient logo right here. This is a match grade barrel. It is cold hammer forged, and it has a nitride finish. So one of the things about this handgun inside, this is nitride. So the gun again has been nitrided and then the Cerakote. So that's going to give it some lubricity here on the interior, and yet give you a really strong finish on the outside. But now here with the frame, a lot of the parts have been nickel boron coated, which makes them very slick, and it makes it a really smooth operating handgun. You can see the locking block here, very Walther looking trigger bar, and so just to kind of get a look inside the interior. And guys, that's all you need to do to field strip. To reassemble, just in reverse order, drop in your barrel, recoil spring, and guide rod. Again, we're going to place it like this, and then we're done. Then we're going to attach our thread protector, and remember that it is left-hand thread. And if you want, you can tighten it down some with this as well. In our magazine, check for function, and we're ready. Now I usually wait a little later in the video to show the firearm, but this is a very large box and there's a lot of cool features. You do get your bag strap, you have a chamber flag. Here we have the different adapter plates. Each one is numbered, and there is a guide to tell you which kind of sight goes on each adapter plate. Here we have a small little box. This is all your tools. These are your screws for your adapter plates, extended magazine releases, and your abbreviated. There's also fiber optics, your rods in here, you can replace them, other tools, a takedown tool to take off your bag strap, and there is a charging handle right here if you want to put this onto the slide. It just helps to bring the slide back. This is a pretty cool little addition just in itself. And you also have a mag loader and your trigger lock. You'll also notice that it's got a different color foam underneath, so you can really contrast very well. And then here we have all the paperwork with owner's manual. It's in full color. Just an excellent job. We have a bore brush, we have a cleaning rod, and we have the wrench. A holster also comes with this, and a paddle. And I do want to demonstrate this holster. But it's a lock, it's a retention holster. You have to pull here and up to pull back. To be honest with you, I'm not super comfortable with that, just because even though it does ride all the way up to your slide, it just seems like that could be easy to drop down and hit your trigger. But, you know, that's just my opinion. But it is a really good quality holster, and it seems like Canik always includes really good holsters, you know, to be thrown in with the box. Makes it really easy that you're ready to go. Now the gun is unloaded. We're going to remove the plate here at the top, and we're going to use the provided hex wrench. Just going to take this plate off. And when you take these screws out, you'll notice there is a little lock washer. See if I can. So be careful not to lose those. Now, according to Canik, this is a very tight fit, and so once you get it to this point, then we're going to double check to make sure the gun is unloaded. We're going to go ahead and disassemble and just remove our slide. So there are two holes right here, and they recommend taking your Allen wrench and pushing out this way in those holes, not the threaded holes right here, but the ones right behind it. And those will mate with the base. So we're going to just tap it lightly. We could probably take a punch and do the same. I was wondering why I wasn't seeing anybody shooting with the RMR, and I think I know why now. It says do not pry it, so we'll just take our time. There we go. That is a really tight fit, but thank goodness they have those holes there to be able to push this out.
Now there are 4 different plates, and it includes each of the different sights that you can put on here.
You'll notice the helicoil threads here and also in the aluminum sight base, and this is going to help to give you a good positive fit. Now take the adapter plate that fits your sight, and of course you can look on the manual. It just pops into place. Then you want to take the screws that are provided, drop them in, then tighten them down. Now you want to make sure that they go below the plate, because your RMR is going to fit flush onto the plate. You can see how deep those screws go down, but that will secure the plate, and you want to double check your plate. Make sure that's good and secure and the plate is on well. Next, bring in your RMR or whatever sight you're using, and then take the screws that are provided with your sight. Don't use the screws that are in the Canik box. And I would suggest rotating these, screwing them down a little bit, and then screwing in the other one. Just rotate that in and out. Just double check to make sure those screws are tight. Right here you can see where the side cocking lever is. You can put in here. I'm not going to apply it because I just don't really like it hanging out. But if you're a competitive shooter, you might like that. And now just drop your slide down, bring it back, and we're ready for the range. The retail price on the Canik TP9 Elite Combat is $849.99. I've seen it in a number of places for around the $650 range, give or take, according to where you are. Pros and cons of the pistol: optics ready, threaded barrel, salient arms, upgrades, flat face trigger. The trigger is just incredible. Just the quality of Canik and the proven design. It's for the money. It's just excellent. I mean, there's not really any kind of cons to this pistol. The only thing I could think of maybe is the abbreviated front slide serrations, possibly. And also, again, this gun is made in Turkey, so there are some that are not going to like that, and I totally understand. But this is a gun channel, and we review guns. I'll tell you, this Canik has really proven itself to be an excellent competitor now in the competition world, but has been in the self-defense world for a long time. All Canik needs to do now is come out with a subcompact, and these guys are really going to be set. And that's going to help us to find a reasonably priced, high-quality firearm. And so it's just a win-win. But here's the deal, guys. Check out other reviews. Look and see what they're saying about this pistol. There may be some things that they pick up that I don't. And it really helps the gun community on YouTube to be honest. And that's what we really want.
Now I want to thank Century Arms for sending the Elite Combat for this test and evaluation. It was really great to be able to check out all the features, especially with Salient jumping on board, which gives Canik a leg up. With all the features this has, and then the price coming in at around the $650 or so range, this is going to be a very difficult gun to beat. Be strong, be of good courage. God bless America. Long live the Republic. Most of the major gun manufacturers, being optic. So overall, range time with the Canik Elite. So
we're going to take it off this way. Oops. The slide will come right off. Oops, I gotta show that. Attach your thread protector and remember which direction. And then again, attach. The fit and finish of these pistols has always been really good.